Hi, I'm John Hewlett, and I wanted today to take a minute in a very informal setting and discuss why Cardio Miracle has delivered such a significant improvement in nitric oxide signaling. I'm not a doctor, not a PhD, not a physiologist, just a person who for the last 10 years has been consumed and obsessed with learning all I could about nitric oxide from the smartest people in the world. It's just my opinion, but I wanted to explain some of the differences. The premier ingredients of the Neo 40 is citrulline and beetroot. Now it's interesting because they spend a lot of their marketing talking about that they are the anti-arginine, and that the arginine becomes an issue in the fact that people over 40, they claim, have reduced receptibility to arginine. That's true to some extent. But when I had my life-changing effect with ProArginine, which is an arginine-based product with citrulline, which becomes arginine, so citrulline becomes arginine, I had a tremendous benefit. I mean, it saved my life. So I don't buy into the idea that anyone over 40 doesn't get a benefit from an arginine product. I don't believe that. But they made a good point in that there's another pathway. So essentially, the difference between Neogenesis or the Neo 40 product and Cardio Miracle is we believe in the sublingual pathway and in beetroot. We've put the finest organic beet powders in ours. And I don't think they have the same caliber of beetroot, but they have beetroot, and they've built an entire argument around how important beetroot is to signaling nitric oxide. They are right. But the reality is, for the money, you're paying an awful lot for a single pathway product with, in my opinion, not the finest beetroot, not the best quantity or enough beetroot, and who knows how much citrulline it is. It's in their proprietary blend. And I know what ours is because, I helped put it in there. And the hawthorn berry is good. So very few ingredients, nice delivery. We're going to be testing that someday head to head. We're very comfortable with that. We know what's in ours. I can see what's in theirs. And I know that we create more nitric oxide on a sustained basis because our ingredients are superior and in greater quantities, and in a lot of things we're adding. We have 50 ingredients. They have, maybe 10. This ProArginine, when it was developed, was the finest product on earth. My challenge was it wasn't improved. And it hasn't been improved. Now, there's a couple of things about ProArginine, and obviously I learned a lot from my experience with ProArginine, and I have a value it, and whenever people ask me about it, I say, it's a great product. Now, Neogenesis makes a big argument against ProArginine because it's arginine and citrulline. That's its entire story. And interesting enough, the amount of citrulline in ProArginine isn't very substantial. Comparatively. One of the complaints that Dr. Siva had, that he told me personally, was on the ProArginines, he asked the company several years ago to put in estrogen. The competitors put in estrogen. The estrogen is a very expensive ingredient, but it's essential to extending the nitric oxide for a longer period of time, which does the greatest job in helping to improve the inflammatory condition and healing the endothelial wall. So essentially, the ProArginine product doesn't have estrogen. It doesn't have certain other extenders that I believe are important to extend the nitric oxide. It has a lower ratio of citrulline. The research says estrogen helps extend nitric oxide. The research says more citrulline is important. The research says erythritol is a better sweetener than xylitol, because you don't have the gastrointestinal issues. The research tells us that if you're delivering nitric oxide, why don't you put in turmeric, one of the greatest anti-inflammatories? Today, I think this is the state of the art. Why? Because we approach both pathways. We approach both pathways with more active ingredients than both of these in the way that we approach it. We're all for nitric oxide in all of these forms. It's certainly better than pharmaceutical drugs. I have the highest regard for what they're doing. They're raising the awareness. Well, nitric oxide to me is a miracle. So that's why we decided, what the heck, we'll call it what it is. It's a miracle. So this is my opinion. This is not in any way to put others down, because in my opinion, any nitric oxide is good nitric oxide. these other products. Less per serving, and we have, in many cases, twice, 3 times, 4 times the active ingredients that create nitric oxide.